From CBS Sports.
High drive, center field, hit the wall, grand slam. This is magnificent.
Got a fantasy question? Email fantasybaseball@cbsi.com. Get ready to win your league.
Where fantasy becomes reality.
Now here's Frank, Scott, Chris, and Adam.
Welcome to the final 2 weeks of the season, and welcome to Fantasy Baseball today on Monday, September 20th. It is crunch time. Frank Stanfield joined by Scott White. Recapping the weekend, we have a bunch of waiver options by position that we are going to be ranking for you in just a moment. We have a prospect call-up, pretty important prospect as well, and we'll answer some of your email questions towards the end of the pod. How we doing, Scotty? How many leagues are you officially still alive in?
I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it. It was 4 as of last week, right? I suffered 2 crushing losses in head-to-head leagues today, or Sunday, I should say. Well, one of them, the Podcast Listeners League, historically, 6 teams have made the playoffs, 6 of the 12, but we forgot to change the setting back from last year's weird season, right? So only the final 2 weeks of the season were deemed playoff weeks, so that leaves only room for 4 to make it. 2 weeks ago, I would have been the number 1 seed. Today, I still have the most points in the league. I think only one other team is even within 200. But I lost my final 2 games, so I'm not technically not one of the top 4 teams. So I'm out in that league.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
It's, I had a path there. I just didn't take it. I could have won either of my last 2 games and it wouldn't have been an issue. And then the other one, we were talking about this last week too on the podcast. Framber Valdez against the Rangers. We thought, okay, yeah, you probably got to start him. Then he ends up not taking that turn, right? I debated that leading up to the lineup block. Framber Valdez or Lucas Giolito, who was coming back from a hamstring injury, theoretically in line for 2 starts. I'm thinking, well, what if his hamstring acts up in the first and he makes basically no starts? So I started Valdez instead. Giolito scores 34 points. I lose by 29. So I'm out in that league too. I'm down to just 2. Frank.
Crusher. What do you think about this, Scotty? I don't know how you guys have seeded the playoffs before in the podcast league, but something I've done in my football leagues now, obviously those are head-to-head points, is the top 5 teams by record make it, and then the 6th team that makes the playoffs is the next highest point scorer in the league. So it kind of gives an opportunity to someone who might have bad luck in terms of win-loss record, an opportunity to still make the playoffs. So it's top 5 record, and then 6th for the most points scored after that.
Look, it's not really worth fighting about as far as I'm concerned, but I don't like it just in a purist sense. I mean, the best reflection in real baseball, the reflection of the best reflection of which teams are better than others is run differential. But they don't award an automatic playoff spot to the team with the best run differential. It's all about win-loss record, right? So, if half your league is making the playoffs, half your head-to-head league, as it usually is in our 12-team podcast league, 6 teams make it, I assume it's going to be very rare that the top scoring team doesn't make it. Very, very rare. When it's only 4 teams, only a third of the league instead of half, I guess that makes it more possible. It still should be rare. But in this case, it happened.
It's definitely possible. I've seen some crazy stuff in head-to-head points league. Scotty, I'm in the finals of the head-to-head points Tout Wars League. So root for me, Scotty. Cross your fingers. Say a prayer for your boy. Going up against Ariel Cohen. It's a 2-week playoff.
He's the defending champion, too. So he's going to be a 2-time Tout Wars champ. That's impressive. I hope you stop him.
I hope so too. But yeah, definitely good competition there. And speaking of which, brings us to that prospect call up, because I actually picked him up in Tout Wars and I'm starting him right away. Shane Bott.
Really?
Called up on Monday. Yes, it is definitely risky, but It's a 2-week matchup here. You got to get as many starts in as you possibly can.
Is it a 2-week matchup?
Oh, well, no, it's a 2-week matchup for the final matchup.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying it's a 2-start week for Boz, which in theory it could be because he's being called up on a Monday, and a 6-game week for the Rays. But I haven't seen that they're bumping anybody from the rotation, and obviously they got the division wrapped up, if not technically, then practically. So I don't know why they wouldn't just go 6-man, space out those young starters, get them ready for the playoffs. Everybody in the rotation's been doing well enough to keep the job. So I suspect Boz is just going to be 1 start for this week, and then it's only 6 games for the Rays next week. And so I imagine the same would be true for next week, just 1 start for Boz, probably start on Monday again, and would be facing the Astros in that one. So
don't love that.
Yeah. So Toronto this week, Astros next week for Boz, presuming they do go 6-man. And I don't see a lot of reason to pursue him myself. Obviously, it's a very exciting thing. I mean, if it happened a month ago, it'd be a very different conversation. He's arguably the top pitching prospect in baseball. Has had an amazing season. But the Rays being the Rays, him having only 2 turns left and both being tough matchups, we got to worry about how he's going to perform without having any exposure in the majors yet. And we got to worry about how the Rays are going to handle him being so young, and then him being the Rays. Are they going to pull him after 4 innings just for the sake of it? I think it's very likely. He did his last minor league start. Boz went 6 innings for the first time this season. So they've kind of stretched him out to a point he wasn't at before. And I'm presuming they plan for him to be a big part of their playoff picture, but that doesn't mean they have to treat him like a conventional starter in his first 2 turns in a major league rotation. So very skeptical Boz is going to be helpful, and obviously be taking a big risk by starting him.
All right, so I guess I should have talked to you before I went out and picked him up.
I mean, you're in the championship game.
You mentioned his most recent start in the minors. He did go 6 innings. He threw 93 pitches in that start, so he is pretty stretched out here. My hope was, obviously, we need volume this time of year, so I'm hoping that they bump somebody out and he gets 2 starts this week. That second start would come against the Marlins, though. Again, there's no knowing that. It's just me being hopeful.
Yeah. And I'm just theorizing, obviously, and it could play out any number of ways. Maybe he throws a 7-inning 1-hitter in his first major league start. That's possible. It just seems unlikely to me based on all the factors we have to weigh. And
we've talked about it before. I mean, the numbers this year, if you want us to reiterate them: 17 starts between AA and AAA, 2.06 ERA, 0.80 WHIP, 113 strikeouts, over 78 2/3 innings for Shane Boz. He's 26% rostered. Again, his first start will come Monday against the Toronto Blue Jays. Scott, not really in on him, obviously, because of the matchups here. We don't really know what the usage is.
Just bad timing. Bad timing.
Yeah. All right, so we're not going to do the Shane Boz thing. Let's talk about maybe a few other players that we're in on for this final week or the final couple of weeks.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
All right, Scotty, who you got?
Okay, I'm going to go back to an old friend of mine, old B-Raj, Brendan Rodgers of the Colorado Rockies, who went through a little bit of a dry spell there, particularly with the power, and kind of understandable because, he puts the ball on the ground more than 50% of the time. That's not ideal, but he had a huge weekend. On Friday, Brendan Rodgers went 2 for 4 with a home run, and on Saturday he went 3 for 5 with a home run and a double. He's up to 14 home runs this season in less than 350 at bats. OPS is over 800. Batting average is over 280. And that was on the road. That was at the Nationals that he did that. So they're at home all this week. As we've said every time we've talked about Brendan Rodgers, his numbers are actually worse at home this season. But I don't think there's any rhyme or reason for that. Coors Field is what it is. It can only be a benefit to him. So a full week at Coors Field this week, half of the final week at Coors Field, and he appears to be heating up. Does Brendan Rodgers, still only 57% rostered. If you need middle infield help, would still seem to me that he is your best choice for that.
And it's so weird, the splits that he has, too, because he's hitting for a good batting average at home, 295 versus 282 on the road. He's just hitting for much more power on the road. 12 of his 14 home runs have come there. So I think lifting the ball a little bit more overall, obviously doing so in Coors Field would go a long way to helping Brendan Rodgers with that power. He had a big weekend this weekend, 6 hits, 2 more homers, 57% rostered, as you mentioned. And I was going to say this for later, but we're talking about Brendan Rodgers now. So let's just rank a few shortstop waiver wire options, Scott, for this week, the final couple of weeks. You let me know, how would you rank this group? Obviously, Brendan Rodgers is here up at the top. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, 3 straight multi-hit games, including 2 steals on Sunday. He's 67% rostered. He's got 7 road games this week at the Yankees, at the Orioles. Nikki Lopez, who I know is on your sleeper hitters list, he's had a very big September, 342 batting average, 1 homer, 2 steals. He's 52% rostered. And then Gavin Lux, who we spoke a little bit about last week, 3 for 4 with a home run on Sunday. He started 8 of the last 9 games for the Dodgers, 35% rostered, only 6 road games this week, but 3 of those come in Coors. And as of now, it looks like only 1 lefty is on the schedule for Gavin Lux. So how would you rank that group, Scott? Rodgers, IKF, Lopez, Lux.
I would go Rodgers, then Nikki Lopez, then Gavin Lux, who, is a bit of a sleeper this week, I would say. Only 3 of his hits since returning from the minors have been extra base hits. It's worth pointing out. But he did homer on Sunday. And then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa would be a distant 4th. I really have no interest in him. His 2 stolen bases on Sunday equal his total number of stolen bases from mid-June. He doubled. He had 2 stolen bases leading up to Sunday from mid-June on, and then added 2 more. So he hadn't been doing much of that, and for basically half the season.
All right, that makes sense to me. Gavin Lux, look, I'm interested. I would rank him behind those other 2 names, as you mentioned, Nikki Lopez and Rodgers, but cheap exposure to one of, if not the best lineups in baseball with the Los Angeles Dodgers. For me, oh my goodness gracious, kind of like Gavin Lux. He hasn't been around as long, obviously, but a prospect who has struggled for most of this season. Looks like he's kind of coming around right now. Jared Kellnick, last 4 games, 7 hits, 3 homers, 1 steal, 6 runs scored, 7 RBI. So he's filling up the box score right now. Only 3 strikeouts during this 4-game stretch. Obviously a super small sample size, but I've been looking for anything to get excited about Jared Kellnick, and I think this would qualify. He's 63% rostered. He has 7 road games this week. Scott, what do you think about Jared Kellnick?
Yeah, it's nice to see he's ending the season on his highest note. His OPS for the month is still lower than you'd like it to be, largely because he hasn't gotten on base much. But the strikeout rate has been much better in August and September, both. Still not great, but better. And he's really elevating this month, and those balls are sailing over the fence. The Mariners matchups for the final 2 weeks, they're kind of middling. And as I said, even as much improvement as Kellnick has shown in recent days, it's not like the numbers blow you away. So I'm still not that motivated to start Kellnick, but it's not unthinkable at this point.
I'm pretty sure these numbers are updated, Scott, on MLB.com, but they have his September splits as 283 batting average, 6 homers, 2 steals, 998 OPS. That's pretty massive. Small sample again, but
I hadn't seen him with the Sunday's numbers included. That is a higher OPS than I was imagining.
So Jared Kellnick coming around here. Let's rank a bunch of outfielders that could be available in your league. And I'm going to include Eddie Rosario, who hit for the cycle on Sunday, has started 5 of the last 6 games for the Atlanta Braves. He has 3 homers over this last 6-game stretch, and he's 62% rostered. The Braves have 7 road games this upcoming week. Looks like only 1 lefty is on the schedule as of now. I'm also going to throw Andrew Benintendi in this mix. He's having a real big September, 389 batting average, 3 homers, 5 doubles, 62% rostered. Ian Happ, hit his 23rd home run of the season on Saturday. That came off of Corbin Burns. Obviously, pretty damn impressive there. He's having a massive September as well. He's 61% rostered. And then Tommy Pham, another small sample size here, but his last 4 games, 6 hits, 1 homer, 1 steal. We know that when Tommy Pham gets hot, he can provide some power and some speed. He is 58% rostered and has started 8 of the last 9 games for the Padres. So rank these for the upcoming week, Scott. Kellnick, Rosario, Benintendi, Ian Happ, Tommy Pham.
I will go Ian Happ, followed by Andrew Benintendi, followed by Jared Kellnick, and then Eddie Rosario, who has started 5 of the last 6 for the Braves, so he seems to be getting preferential treatment over Jock Peterson now. It's good to see. But nonetheless, he's 4th on this list. Tommy Pham is a distant 5th. He had been hapless. He's since going back to July, batting under 200. So, I'm not sure the 4-game stretch is enough to convince me he's out of it and is about to get hot. Maybe that turns out to be so, but I just don't think it's good process to think that's what's happening for Tommy Pham.
And it's worth noting that Tommy Pham was going up against the Cardinals this weekend, and they have some history, and he's definitely motivated there. So I don't know if I want to put too much stock into that either, but I thought I would note how hot Tommy Pham has been. All right, so if you're looking for some outfielders, those are some that might be available in your leagues. Let's move on to news and notes. Shane Bieber made another rehab start at AA on Sunday. He allowed 3 runs. 2 of those were home runs. Over 3 1/3 innings, he got his pitch count up to 57. I don't know if he's going to start later this week, next week. Obviously, if you're stashing him on the IL, you can continue to do so. Even if he's active, Scott, I don't know if we're going to put him back in our lineup when it matters most,
Yeah, I mean, if he has time to make 1 start, you want to start him fresh off the IL. It is worth pointing out, final week of the season for Cleveland, they're at the Royals and at the Rangers. So let's say he comes back that Monday, lines up for 2 starts, those are the matchups, then okay, you probably would start him. So there is still a way you might start Bieber, but it's kind of a long shot.
Yeah, we're grasping at straws here when it comes to Shane Bieber. Cody Bellinger missed Saturday and Sunday's game with a non-displaced rib fracture. He's still 89% rostered, which unless these are all keeper or dynasty leagues, I don't think that's what most of CBS is. He should not be on your team. He's only 49% started. Cody Bellinger is hitting way below 200, actually 159 to be exact. He's not playing against lefties, and now he's banged up. So if you need a roster spot, beat it, Cody Bellinger. Get him off your team. According to Ken Rosenthal, the A's are targeting Thursday for Chris Bassett's return, which is truly remarkable. I mean, the guy got hit in the face with a line drive. He had surgery on his cheekbone. It was fractured, and now he's getting ready to return on Thursday. He's 74% rostered, and it doesn't look like that game would actually come against the Seattle Mariners. Would you throw Bassett right back in your lineup?
Yeah, I think probably not. Probably not for the first start back. I mean, that's a pretty good matchup. Is he going to be able to go the length that he was going before? I'd have my doubts about that. But the following week, he would also be pitching at Seattle. So if it does go well, that first start, then maybe you get him active for the final week.
Yeah, I don't think I would chance it in a weekly league. If you play in a daily lineup league and you have Chris Bassett, and sure, I don't mind starting him there, but in a weekly league, it is a little bit more risky, obviously. The Padres do not expect Blake Snell to pitch again until the postseason, if they make it, of course. Manager Bud Black for the Colorado Rockies said on Friday that he's not sure if Connor Joe will be able to return this season. He's currently on the IL with a hamstring injury, which is unfortunate because Connor Joe was crushing it when he was healthy. Jamison Tyone, who's Jamison? Jamison Tyone can make a minor league rehab start during the coming week. He is on the IL with an ankle injury. Framber Valdez, everyone's favorite pitcher this time of year, Scott, because he didn't start for me. He didn't start for you. He is confirmed as a starter on Monday, which will make him a 2-start pitcher this week. I'm assuming we're throwing Valdez in for that.
Yeah. Yep. That I certainly in points leagues, but I think even in most roto leagues, unless you're really having to protect your ratios at this point.
Joe Ryan was pushed back from Sunday and will apparently start Wednesday this week against the Cubs, which means he wouldn't have 2 starts, right, Scott?
He would not, no, but he could the final week. First of all, that matchup against the Cubs is obviously, no, I shouldn't say obviously, but it's a pretty favorable one for Joe Ryan. And the final week probably would line up for 2 starts against the Tigers and at the Royals.
I like that.
Yes, you do.
So let's make that happen. Would it be? Yeah, Tuesday would be. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. Because I was looking at this. I was scared for a second that it might be Toronto. I don't want to use Joe Ryan against Toronto, but yeah, Wednesday looks like it would be against the Cubs for Joe Ryan. Same thing happened actually for Carlos Hernandez, who was pushed back to Wednesday, which means he wouldn't have 2 starts either.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. I had to remove him from the 2-start pitcher rankings. I had to lower him in the top 10 sleeper pitchers for this week. And that was unfortunate. But his matchup is still against Cleveland. So it's pretty good. At Cleveland, I should say.
Yep. How about for Brady Singer? He'll be activated to start the first game of their doubleheader on Monday, which means he should have 2 starts against Cleveland and the Tigers, but it's Brady Singer. So
right. He gets those matchups Carlos Hernandez had that, made him a pretty attractive sleeper. So I added Brady Singer to the top 10 sleeper pitchers for this upcoming week, ahead of Carlos Hernandez even. 4 of his last 5 starts were good. The most recent one was pretty terrible. Look, I'm not eager to get Brady Singer in my lineup. I hope I have better pitchers. I don't even have to entertain the thought. But if you're searching for pitching help, the matchups are right for Brady Singer.
Nico Horner was activated on Sunday and was batting 5th in the Cubs lineup. He is 24% rostered. He went 0 for 4 in that game. Scott, do you have any interest in Nico Horner at this point?
No, not at this point.
Oh, ready?
Maybe next year.
Tanner Houck has been shifted to the Red Sox bullpen, so we could drop him. Yep.
Yeah.
Luis Gil was optioned back to AAA after Saturday's start, where he allowed 3 runs over 4 1/3 innings. We can drop Gil, right?
Yeah, and I will point out that after issuing a combined 3 walks in his first 2 starts, he has issued a combined 16 in his last 4. I don't think I got those numbers quite right. But yeah, the walks have been an issue more recently for Gil.
Whatever
as it seemed like was inevitable looking at his minor league numbers.
Yeah, whatever that number is, it's a lot for Luis Gil. Scott, have I mentioned recently that the Yankees stink? They're not going to make the playoffs. It's hilarious. 1.5 games behind. They face Boston this week. They face Toronto and Tampa the final week. This is too stressful. I can't do this, Scott. So I can't watch their games anymore. Forget it. Forget the Yankees. Chris Paddock played catch from 75 feet Saturday, but isn't expected to pitch again this season in redraft. Obviously, you could drop him. The Yankees could activate Luis Severino on Monday, but remember, he's going to pitch out of the bullpen, so it doesn't really have much fantasy value. Miguel Andujar reported to AAA Sunday to begin a rehab assignment. He's been on the IL since July with a wrist injury. Not really much interest there either, but thought I would mention it. He used to have fantasy value at one point. These players went to the IL this weekend. Jesse Winker returned from his injury, and then he got hit by a pitch and he re-injured his intercostal strain. So he went back on the IL. And I mean, this is always the bugaboo with Jesse Winker, Scott, is he's awesome when he plays. And I mean, this year more than ever, he was a starting all-star outfielder for the National League. It's just, when he's hurt, it just seems like he misses quite a bunch of time.
Yeah, he's hurt a lot, but it still achieved a new level of consistency this year that's going to make him a much higher pick next year, I would say, even though he's finishing the year all injured and such.
Yeah, he is an interesting one for next year. Like, he was awesome when he played. There's no doubt about it. He was ranked inside of our top 12 outfielders for a majority of the season. So, man, I don't know. Like a top 3 or 4 round pick? Is that too high next year?
I can't picture him going in round 3.
Okay.
There's just too many other players.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah, I think that can make sense. Hyunjin Ryu finally went to the IL with suckiness. Just kidding. It was a neck strain is what the Toronto Blue Jays are calling it. Probably from turning around so fast to see those home runs leave the yard.
Yeah. So after his start Friday, 5 earned runs in 2 innings, the ERA is up to 4.34. So at one point, many moons ago, I said I'd eat my hat if Hyunjin Ryu had an ERA over 4. Today, I'm telling you, I'll eat my hat if he has an ERA under 4. So either way, I mean my hat, right? There's a hat in my future.
You want me to send this one your way, Scotty?
No, that's gross.
I could probably get it to you.
I'll eat one of my own hats. Thank you.
All right, so we'll, me and you, I still technically have to eat a hat together, so I don't know. We'll figure this out. Maybe the first podcast after the season ends, we'll have a nice little hat eating session, you and me both. Jake McGee went to the IL with a right oblique strain. Are you looking to add anybody in the Giants bullpen in deeper leagues? Scott, Tyler Rodgers pitched in the 8th inning on Saturday. Dominic Leone picked up his second save of the season in that game. Any interest in deeper leagues?
Well, no, because I don't know who's filling in. I assume it's Tyler Rodgers. He had that ugly blown save Saturday. Yep. Or Friday. It was, right? Yep. But then, Leon got the save the next day with Rodgers pitching the 8th. So, I don't really that throws enough confusion into things that I'm not particularly invested in picking up either. But if I had to choose, I would say Rodgers.
Yeah, Tyler Rodgers gave up 3 hits, 3 runs on Friday night, blowing the save in that game, and the Giants would eventually win in 11, but yeah, not his best work there. Gregory Soto went to the IL with a fractured finger. Would you be looking to add Michael Fulmer, who picked up his 10th save of the season on Saturday?
Yeah, more interested in adding Fulmer than I am in Tyler Rodgers. Worth mentioning that Kyle Funkhauser got the save for the Tigers on Sunday, but Fulmer had worked 3 of the previous 4 days, so just needed a day off. I think the future chances are going to go to Fulmer.
Seth Beer.
Although, let me mention this while we're on the subject of closers.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Barlow of the Rangers is still only 15% rostered. That's 15% rostered. If you're looking to pick up a closer, I mean, you should look to him before anyone for the Tigers, anyone for the Giants, because he has been pretty impressive. He's been plays for a bad team. I get it, but did I call him the wrong first name?
No, you got it right. It's Joe Barlow.
Okay, I just typed in the wrong last name. Like, why are his numbers not coming up? Okay, yeah. So 1.46 ERA, strikeout per inning, 0.85 WHIP, and the no doubt closer for the Rangers. Also, if you want to go higher, and then that Giovanni Gallegos is, of course, the stud closer who's still available in 40% of leagues. You got a save Saturday, another save Sunday. Clearly the guy for the Cardinals. So that would be the number 1 choice, but he's not nearly as available as these other guys.
Those surging Cardinals, by the way, 8-game winning streak. Why do you think Scott and I are wearing red shirts right now together? It's because the Cardinals, our St. Louis Cardinals. No, I'm just kidding. Giovanni Gallegos is 61% rostered. Yeah, so might be floating around there in some shallower leagues if you need saves. He is the top name available right now. Seth Beer finally went to the IL with that dislocated shoulder. Tyler Naquin went to the IL with bruised ribs. Bryce Wilson with a left hamstring strain. Dalton Jeffries with right elbow ulnar neuritis. And Kevin Kiermaier, I saw this over the weekend, went to the COVID IL, but then I also saw that he was playing on Sunday, so looks like he's back already. Scout, what do we do with these players? Start or sit some players who are banged up right now. Kyle Tucker was removed Sunday with right shoulder discomfort. Do we risk it? Because he is awesome when he's in the lineup.
That's shoulder discomfort. That's pretty vague, right?
Yeah.
I would probably play it safe if I had a decent alternative. And it might be hard to find a decent alternative in a 5 outfielder league, which is more of a roto league. And so you can afford to miss more than you can in a head-to-head league. But those, assuming it's a head-to-head league, which is probably a 3 outfielder league, probably need to have someone on hand. Let me pull up the schedule here. The Astros, they are playing on Monday.
Yeah. It's in LA. Well, I guess Anaheim, but it's at 9:40 p.m. Eastern time. So I don't know when we're going to have that lineup per se, but we will have it on Monday.
Yeah. Ideally, the other outfielder you could have to plug in for him would also be playing a game in the Pacific time zone. Let's see. So somebody on the Athletics, Mariners, maybe Jared Kellnick, Diamondbacks or Braves.
Eddie Rosario.
I know we're putting a lot of thought into this, but obviously the stakes are high.
Yeah, for sure.
Eddie Rosario is a possibility. Yeah. Just pick him up and stash him. And if Tucker's out of the lineup, probably go with that other person instead because, obviously Tucker could be back Tuesday, but maybe he misses the whole week and you don't want to take that chance.
Carlos Carrasco left to start on Saturday, but he pitched very well against the Phillies. 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. He's currently 42% started, and it looks like his matchup is at the Milwaukee Brewers this week. What do we do there?
I think you sit him. He hasn't done enough to... This is only his second quality start since returning, and the strikeout rate has been low. The swinging strike rate has been not low, but lower than we're used to seeing from him. So I think you play it safe and sit Carrasco.
Willy Adams is trending towards a Monday return. He is on the IL with a quad injury. Do we throw him back in there? The Brewers have a massive lead in the National League Central.
They do. And the Brewers matchups are middle of the road this week. As I said, on our last podcast, it's hard to find a replacement shortstop off the waiver wire. Like if you could get Brendan Rodgers, I'd probably start him over Willy Adams fresh off the IL.
How about Nikki Lopez?
That's closer, but probably Lopez instead.
Cool. Joey Gallo left Saturday with a neck injury and was not in the lineup Sunday for the Yankees. Last Monday's podcast, we were debating whether or not you should start him, and then I looked at the matchup and I'm like, all right, keep Joey Gallo in there. Turns out he hits 5 home runs this week, so has a massive week. But now dealing with this neck injury. So
yeah,
would you start or sit?
I'd probably sit. Let's do the same thing we did for Tucker here. So the Yankees are playing Monday, and they're playing
7:00.
7, yep, much earlier in the day. So you have more choices there. I mean, Gallo's less enticing in a head-to-head league anyway than Tucker, but you could do the same thing where you see if he's in the lineup before committing to him. You just can't. You can't have, Royals and Indians are playing at 4:10, so you can't rely on one of those guys as your replacement for Gallo.
Yes, but we have the Orioles at 7:00, so I know Anthony Santander is one of your sleeper hitters this week. And then Tyler O'Neill, probably in a shallower league, he's 79% rostered. He's red hot. The Cardinals play at 7:40. So, and then those other names that we mentioned earlier. The last name here, Lorenzo Cain, left Saturday with a hip issue. This is more so for deeper leagues, but what do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I would probably sit him.
We had one other prospect called up this weekend, obviously not to the same pedigree as Shane Baz, but Ryan Vilade, outfield prospect for the Colorado Rockies, was promoted on Saturday. And at AAA this season, 286 batting average, 7 homers, 12 steals. Not overly impressive numbers. He's a former second-round pick in 2017, and he actually only has shortstop eligibility on CBS, despite being an outfielder in the minors. He was probably drafted as a shortstop, I would imagine. Any interest, Scott, in deeper leagues? Ryan Vilade?
Well, I mean, maybe in deeper leagues because it seems like they're going to give him a fair amount of playing time. But I don't think any standard size leagues should be looking at him right now.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we're going to rank some more waiver wire hitters by position for the upcoming week. Next on Fantasy Baseball Today. All right, so let's look at first base. And come on, first base, you know what we're talking about. It's Frankie, 2 hits. It's Frankie, a lot of hits, because the guy is just, he's only 62% roster. I know you're probably tired of us talking about Frank Schwindel at this point, but he's not slowing down. His last 9 games, he has 16 hits, 3 homers during that stretch. He's 62% rostered, has 6 games this upcoming week. I'm going to compare him against a few other names here. Brandon Belt hit his 26th home run on Friday. He's 55% rostered. Has 3 games in Coors Field this week. Jeimer Candelario, his last 7 games, 7 hits, 4 homers. He is red hot right now as well, 63% rostered. And then Bobby Dahlbeck has 8 hits, 3 homers over his last 8 games. The problem, the Red Sox only play 5 games this upcoming week. He has started 9 of their last 10 games overall. So if you were worried about playing time, Dahlbeck, he's been in there a little bit more consistently. So how would you rank this group, Scott? Schwindel, Belt, Candelario, Dahlbeck.
Schwindel, obviously, distant number one hitter off the waiver wire, regardless of position. Frankie 2 hits has turned out to be such an appropriate nickname. He has exactly 2 hits in 4 of his last 5 games.
He's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to have a really hard time not ranking him as a top 20 first baseman next year. I mean, obviously I don't have the names lined up right now, but I don't know why he wouldn't be the Cubs opening day first baseman next year, right? He has to be.
I would imagine so. I mean, he's certainly done enough to at least get a look to start the year.
Yeah, and I'd take him over. I don't know. I take him over like a Jared Walsh. I feel like is Walsh even gonna? Yeah, Walsh should be eligible at first base.
Yeah, he will be.
Yeah. Anyway, so Frank Schwindel's number 1, followed by Brandon Belt, like those 3 games at Coors Field. In fact, I think these are my number 1 and 2 sleeper hitters, period, for this upcoming week. If you look at my 10 sleeper hitters column. Candelario would be 3rd on this list just for this upcoming week because of the Red Sox and Dahlbeck having only 5 games. However, for Dahlbeck, if you're looking ahead to the final week of the season, the Red Sox are at the Orioles and at the Nationals. So I like that for, if you're playing for 2 weeks instead of just 1, then Dahlbeck ahead of Candelario.
You know what's kind of worrisome about that, though, is I love the matchup against the Orioles. Like, just stream any hitters against the Orioles pitching. But if they're at Washington, that obviously takes away the DH. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of throws a wrench in Bobby Dahlbeck.
However, they'd probably have to force Schwarber at first base, wouldn't they? Otherwise, they're removing one of Verdugo. They could play Verdugo in center and bench Enrique Hernandez. But even then, Martinez. They'd have to do. Okay. So they probably wouldn't play Dahlbeck much in that national series. Good point.
All right, so let's rank some outfielders in a little bit of a deeper leagues. Let's say 5 outfielder leagues here, but Lane Thomas just continues to go. It's not to the same extent as Frank Schwindel, but Lane Thomas is playing really well since he's joined the Washington Nationals. Went 2 for 5 with another home run on Friday. 32 games with Washington, 298 batting average, 5 homers, 8 doubles, 2 steals, 21% rostered, has 7 road games this week. Again, that is Lane Thomas. Austin Hayes had a big week this week, and I know that's why you liked him, Scott. 6 hits, 3 homers, 1 steal, 46% rostered. They have 7 games this upcoming week, but it looks like only 1 lefty on the schedule. And then Garrett Hampson has started 6 straight games for the Rockies, and he's got triple eligibility. Obviously, they play 6 home games this week, so that is exciting for Rockies hitters. How would you rank those 3 outfielders in deeper leagues? Hayes, Lane Thomas, Garrett Hampson.
Yeah, this is a much deeper group than we looked at first base. Not as enthusiastic about any of them, but I would probably rank them in the order you have them here. I would put Thomas ahead of Hayes, at least for this upcoming week, because the Orioles, Hayes does so much of his damage against left-handed pitchers, and I think the Orioles only have 1 of those on the schedule this week. And I can't look ahead to the final week yet with any accuracy to say whether Hayes or Thomas would be better then, but it's close between those 2. And then Hampson just hasn't been stealing bases enough. It's nice to see him playing more, but he hasn't been stealing enough bases to warrant consideration by comparison.
All right, final question that I have here. First base in deeper leagues, who would you rather have for this upcoming week? Yoshi Tsutsugo went 2 for 4 with a walk and a run scored on Saturday. 30 games with the Pirates. He's batting .296, 7 homers, 6 doubles, a 1044 OPS. He is 6% rostered. And then Lewin Diaz went 2 for 4 with another home run on Sunday. He is 5% rostered. So this is, we're probably looking at 15-team corner infielder or something like that. Who do you like more for this week, Scott?
Well, I'm kind of interested in both of these guys, maybe beyond any of those outfielders.
Okay.
But neither of them have particularly good matchups this week. Lewin Diaz's might be a little better. And obviously he's going to keep playing since Jesus Aguilar is out for the year. But Tsutsugo, those numbers have been really impressive since joining the Pirates. And I like his matchups the final week of the season. I don't know. That's close between. I think I might go Tsutsugo over Diaz, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like there's only one lefty on the schedule as of now, even though Tsutsugo's been playing every day, even against lefties. And I know recently he had a multi-hit game against Wade Miley, who is a lefty. So I'm with you. I think it's close. I like both guys, but I would take
the matchups aren't great for the Pirates. They're really not that good.
Yeah.
But it's 7 games, and I just think I don't know. The numbers are so impressive since each 30 games with Pittsburgh. He has a 1044 OPS.
Yeah.
And it's time to take Yoshi Tsutsugo seriously. Numbers like that.
Tsutsugo. We just needed an excuse to sing that, obviously. Other hitting notables from the weekend. Jose Ramirez went 4 for 4 with his 35th home run of the season on Sunday. That came off of Garrett Cole. 55 second half games for Jose Ramirez. 272 batting average, 16 homers, 16 steals. It seems like every year towards the end of the season, the guy just goes ballistic, and he's doing that right now. So carrying your fantasy teams. Marcus Semion hit his 40th home run of the season on Saturday. He's also batting 270. He's got 15 steals. He is the 6th overall player in Roto Leagues, 5x5 Roto Leagues this season. Adalberto Mondesi has 10 steals in 14 games since returning, so doing what he does in September every year. Shout out to the Cardinals. I mentioned this earlier. They've won 8 in a row. Tyler O'Neill, 18 September games. He's batting .333, 7 homers, 3 steals, 79% rostered. For anyone in 10-team leagues, he could be available there. Dylan Carlson had a double dong on Friday, I believe. Maybe it was Saturday. One of those days. He now has 15 home runs overall. It's been a disappointing season for Carlson. He's 76% rostered, 8 road games this upcoming week. And last name I'll throw out here, Romy Gonzalez, who we spoke about recently, got called up by the White Sox. He started 4 straight games for them, has 5 hits, 2 runs, an RBI. He's third base eligible, 1% rostered, has 8 games this week. Any interest got in the deepest of leagues?
I mean, it'd have to be like an AL only league, I think, to look into Romy Gonzalez. Tyler O'Neill has been, awesome. He probably should be active in all leagues, batting over 300 in both August and September, and obviously showing a lot of power recently. The Cardinals have 8 games this week, so it's going to be a really interesting player to rank for next year. Will O'Neill, because he might be a 30 homer 15 guy this year, and that's even with him missing a fair amount of time. The batting average is over 280. But the strikeout rate is enormous. So, that's the sort of thing that could cause him to fall flat on his face next year. It's going to be interesting for sure. It's going to be kind of like Teoscar Hernandez, actually, how we're looking at him heading into this year, except obviously in O'Neill's case, it was a legitimate 6-month season as opposed to a 2-month season.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good comp. And I've made this one before as well, but the profile for Tyler O'Neill kind of reminds me of Javier Baez. I mean, he walks a little bit more than Javier Baez, which is not saying much, but in order to overcome a strikeout rate that high, you have to be like a special player. And Javier Baez, I mean, he has like ridiculous bat speed and he's just an awesome athlete all around. I think you could say the same thing about Tyler O'Neill. Like, he is just a ridiculous athlete. So he might be able to overcome a strikeout rate this high just because he hits the ball as hard as he does, and he just does really awesome things when he's on the field. So that's kind of a comp that I've made before, but I think Teoscar Hernandez is a pretty good one as well. All right, Scott, while I have you here, you got to help me set my playoff lineups. All right. So are you ready?
Okay, sure.
But other people might have these questions too. Would you drop Travis d'Arnaud for Dalton Varsho, who went 2 for 4, hit his 11th home run of the season on Saturday? He's 44% rostered and has 7 home games this week. You make that swap?
Varsho versus d'Arnaud, you said?
Yeah.
I would start Varsho.
All right. Well, know what waiver wire bids I have to put in right after the podcast ends.
Yeah, I mean the matchups are definitely better for Darno, but I just think Varsho's upside's higher. Like he always seems to, even when he's not going well in a week, he always seems to have that one big game that makes it worth it, you know?
The other question that I have right now is, of course, everything comes back to you, Darvish. It always does.
And all comes back to you.
Yeah, it really does. It's all about you. It's all about you. Someone tweeted at us Saturday, Scott, and they asked, would you start you, Darvish, in a daily lineup league? And I said no, which means he's going to go out and throw 7 shutout. That's exactly what he did. He threw 7 shutout, 3 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts against the Cardinals. He is currently 72% started on CBS at home against the Braves this week. Darvish has been much better at home this year. And I said earlier in the week, no, like we're not starting Darvish no matter what. He's got a 3.19 ERA at home this year. I currently have Logan Gilbert in my lineup at the Angels over you, Darvish. And I think it's a really close call. What do you think, Scott?
I think it is a really close call. Darvish has the higher upside for sure. Gilbert has the better matchup. Downside, I guess Darvish has more down. I mean, look, still, even with that great start over the weekend, you take it back to June. And since June, Darvish has a 6.79 ERA in 12 starts. 2 of his last 3 starts have been great. The one in the middle was terrible, 8 earned runs. So, I think I'm with you that I go Gilbert instead of Darvish, given that Darvish is facing the Braves. But it is a close call.
That start where you, Darvish, got destroyed against the Giants, it was on the road. For what it's worth, this most recent start was on the road as well against the Cardinals. So I don't know what to make of all that, but he has been better at home.
Yeah.
As of now, I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to leave Logan Gilbert in the lineup, you, Darvish, on the bench. And obviously, if it blows up in my face, I can blame Scott. So that was the whole point of doing this. Let's talk a little bit more about Logan Gilbert and rank him with some other starting pitchers who might be available from the weekend. I know that Logan Gilbert is one of your sleeper pitchers. He's going up against the Angels this week through an awesome start on, I believe it was Sunday, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. That's back-to-back quality starts for Logan Gilbert. We also had Eric Lauer, 5 1/3, 1 run, 6 strikeouts against the Cubs. He has made 4 September starts. Eric Lauer has a 1.09 ERA, a .58 whip. So whatever he's doing, it's working. He's at home against the Mets this week. Michael Pineda, 3 starts since returning. He's allowed 2 earned runs over 13 2/3 innings pitched. He's 49% rostered at the Cubs this week. Pretty good matchup as well. And then Madison Bumgarner. Where did this come from? At the Astros, 7 innings, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts. It is his first quality start since August 19th. He's at home against the Braves this week. How would you rank that group, Scott? Gilbert, Lauer, Pineda, Mad Bum.
Just for this upcoming week, right?
Yep.
Gilbert with the 2 starts. Gilbert with the start against the Angels. The way his last 2 turns have gone, he'd have to be number 1. But Lauer, I don't really trust Lauer. And it seems like whenever I recommend that guy I don't trust, even though he's been doing it for months, that's when it all falls apart, right?
That is true.
It's happened for Kyle Freeland. But, I mean, the matchup against the Mets is good in the final week of the season for what it's worth. Not that we're really basing the decision on that, but final week of the season, Cardinals, as it looks like, is who Lauer would be facing. So they're hot right now, I understand, but over the course of the season, their offense has not been great. Lauer would be number 2 behind Gilbert. And I think I don't really want to rank the other 2 because I really can't see myself using Pineda or Bumgarner.
All right, that's fine by me.
Bumgarner was good against the Astros. That just seems like one of those weird things that happens.
Yeah, pretty fluky. That probably means you're going to hate all these other pitchers that I'm about to ask you about. But waiver wire pitchers part 2. This is for deeper leagues, obviously. Kyle Freeland threw 6 shutout this weekend with 7 strikeouts. He's at home against the Dodgers this week. Chris Bubich, 6 1/3, 1 run, only 2 strikeouts against the Mariners. He is at Cleveland this week. He's 14% rostered. Paolo Espino had a strong start on Sunday. He's at the Reds this week. They are 30th in weighted on base average the last 14 days, so they are ice cold. He's 18% rostered. Eli Morgan at the Yankees, 6 innings, 1 run, 3 strikeouts. He's 9% rostered. And then Willy Peralta, last 2 starts, 13 shutout innings pitched, and he is at home against the Royals this week, 14% rostered. Do you have 1 or 2 favorites if you play in a deeper league, Scott? Freeland, Bubic, Espino, Eli Morgan, and Willy Peralta.
I'm not enthusiastic about ranking Willy Peralta, but given the matchup, it'd probably be my favorite of this group. And honestly, I was floored seeing that he still has a 3.04 whip for the season.
304?
I'm sorry, 3.04 ERA
for
this season. 3.04 ERA for the season in 17 appearances, 16 of them starts. And the whip's low too. Now the xFIP is well over 4, so like he shouldn't be doing as well as he is. But nonetheless, it's been a long time, and he's going against the Royals. So Willy Peralta probably be my favorite here. If I have to pick a second one, I guess Bubic again, just because of the matchup. I'd like Freeland more if he wasn't going against the Dodgers. I'd like Paulo Espino more if he wasn't at Cincinnati, and he's a big fly ball pitcher, so that just seems too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're forcing me to pick 2 from this list, Peralta and Bubic would be. Do I really want to do that? Yeah, I mean the Dodgers can't do you can't do Freeland against the Dodgers. But man, I don't like the sound of me recommending Bubic. Not just because his name is tricky to say, but also because I don't think he's very good.
Yeah, again, this is for deeper leagues. So 12 team, anything standard sized, you're not going to be looking at these names, but 15 teamers. Yeah, I saw those names available when I was putting in waiver bids earlier on Sunday. Starter sit. Let's assume this is for a 12 team standard size league. And we'll start with Chris Sale. Let's kind of run through these here, Scott. He is at home against the Yankees this week. 5 innings, 1 run, only 1 strikeout in his return. Would you start Chris Sale?
Probably. I mean, definitely over any of the pitchers we talked about in the last 2 lists.
Yeah, I think. Chris Sale versus Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, I would still take Sale. It was weird that the strikeouts and whiffs were low against the Orioles in his return, but I don't want to overthink that.
Corey Kluber had his best start since returning, 6 shutout against Cleveland. He had 15 swinging strikes. He's only 36% started. He's at home against Texas this week. You know what he did last time he faced them?
He threw a no-hitter, right?
That's right.
It was way back in May. Yeah, no, I like that. I really encouraging start last time out and a great matchup. So, I mean, I'd rather start Sale than Kluber if it came to that, but Kluber is without any other context, he's a yes for me.
All right. Herman Marquez, his last 11 starts, he's got a 5.68 ERA. He's at home against the Dodgers this week, and he's 65% started.
No.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty bad idea. So 65% of you, I would try to get Herman Marquez out of my lineup. Dylan Cease has 8 double-digit strikeout games this season. He had another one this weekend, and he is at the Tigers this week. That seems pretty obvious, right?
Yes.
Ian Anderson, 4 starts since returning. He's allowed 10 earned runs over 19 and a third innings. He is at the Diamondbacks this week. Would you start Ian Anderson?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, it wouldn't be automatic. I'd weigh my options, but he got burned by home runs at San Francisco in his start Friday, 3 of them given up. And that's just so out of character. He only allowed 4 ground balls in that game. And he's like a big ground ball guy. So I think it was pretty fluky. And otherwise, he looked fine in that Friday start. So yes to Anderson.
Aaron Svale is only 39% started, and he's had 2 good starts, 1 ugly one since returning. He's at home against the White Sox.
Probably yes.
All right. Sonny Gray, he gave up 4 runs against the Dodgers this weekend. He's 67% started, and he's at home against Washington this week. He's got a 4.64 ERA at home this season too, for what it's worth.
Yeah, well, he's been on a good run lately. 3 earned runs or fewer in 8 straight. It's lowered his ERA from 4.44 to 3.84. So I would lean yes on Sonny Gray.
How about Steven Matz, who has a 2.72 ERA over his last 7 starts? He's at the Twins this week.
Been on a good run, but I don't trust it. So no to Steven Matz. However, I might start him over like Chris Bubich,
Yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, I mentioned that 2.72 ERA that comes with a 4.66 xFIP during that span. So seems pretty fluky. Aaron Nola, I think I know the answer to this one. He's at home against the Pirates. We're starting him, right?
Yeah. So of course he'll allow 6 earned runs after the shutdown performance against who were they facing?
The Mets. He had 9 strikeouts.
Yeah. So it is an easy matchup, but that was following a 10 strikeout performance. Aaron Nola's still good, I think, despite the ERA.
Nathan Eovaldi, 75% starter right now. He's at home against the Yankees this week.
I mean, he has been locked in, so got to say yes to Eovaldi.
And he's been great against the Yankees this year, too. Clayton Kershaw made another start on this weekend. I don't know what day it was. 5 innings, 1 run. He had 20 swinging strikes on 74 pitches. He's only 51% started. I think we get him back in at the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, easy call.
Wade Miley has an 8.35 ERA in 4 September starts. He is at home against the Nationals this week. Still 74% started.
Yeah, I mean, it has been unraveling in a disastrous way here in September. So no way I'm trusting Miley.
What did I write here? This is supposed to be Shane McClanahan, but I don't know what I wrote here. He made his return this weekend. 5 innings, 1 run against the Tigers. Only 36% started. Looks like he's at home against the Marlins.
Yeah, you got to like that one. I mean, he might not be automatic because you worry about how deep he'll pitch into the game, but in most cases, you're probably starting McClanahan.
Zach Greinke, his ERA is now to 4.11 for the season. He's 63% started at Oakland this week. I don't think I want to do it.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, well, we are in lockstep there. Anthony DeSclafani, quality start against the Braves, but he's at the Rockies this week. 67% started.
I'd lean no. It wouldn't be an automatic no, but obviously Coors Field as his only start. That's scary.
Last one here, Kyle Gibson, 6 2/3, gave up 3 runs against the Mets on Sunday Night Baseball, 9 strikeouts. Looks like he is at home against the Pirates this week.
His previous 3 starts were pretty bad, but honestly, I wonder where all those swinging strikes came from for Kyle Gibson. That was
23 on 100 pitches.
I know. He'd only had, I think he'd gone like 8 straight single-digit swinging strikes or something like that, and after 23 all of a sudden. Yeah, the Pirates matchup, it's just too favorable. I definitely plan to start Kyle Gibson this week. Again, probably not automatic. Depends who else you have, but it looks like a good choice.
Some quick studs being studs from this weekend that I wanted to mention. Part 1, Luis Castillo at home against the Dodgers. 6 1/3 shutout with 10 strikeouts. His ERA is down to 4.08, and he might actually get it below 4 by the end of the season. He's facing the Pirates this week. That was 7.22 on June 1st for Luis Castillo. So just a really great final 3-4 months here for him. Logan Webb, another quality start, 7 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts to 0 walks. Guy's awesome. 2.71 ERA. He's at the Padres this week. Obviously, we're starting him. And then Max Scherzer, 7 shutout, 7 strikeouts against the Reds. He is down to a 2.08 ERA, a 0.81 whip on the season. Castillo, Webb, Scherzer.
Yeah, so is Scherzer going to be the Cy Young winner? He has 15 wins as well to go with that 2.08 ERA, 0.81. Is he going to win his 4th Cy Young award, Max Scherzer? I was not thinking that when the trade happened, but I mean, Walker Buehler, Corbin Burns.
I was thinking it's between the teammates, right? Walker Buehler and Scherzer?
Scherzer has allowed 5 earned runs in his 9 starts with the Dodgers.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah. 4th Cy Young.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I can see that. I'm trying to pull up some betting odds here to see if I can. Yeah. He's the favorite right now. in the National League, minus 210. Corbin Burns, plus 200. Walker Buehler, plus 700. It looks like it's going to happen. Max Scherzer, what an awesome season for him. Studs Part 2, Corbin Burns up against the Cubs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 11 strikeouts. He is down to a 2.34 ERA. Max Fried at the Giants, 7 shutout with 5 strikeouts. Just having an awesome year after he returned from the IL, or basically after April. He's been great. Frankie Mantas, another one, 7 shutout with 7 strikeouts. A pitcher's duel between him and Ohtani. Ohtani heard those footsteps from Vladimir Guerrero, and he's like, nah, I'm stamping my MVP approval right here. He was up against the Oakland A's, 8 innings, 2 runs, 10 strikeouts. He had 26 swinging strikes on 108 pitches. He's down to a 3.28 ERA, obviously with everything he's done as a hitter this season. Burns, Fried, Montas, Ohtani. Anything you'd like to add?
I mean, they're all great. They've all been great. Montas, I'll point out, if I can find the stat quickly enough. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it quickly enough. There's always too many notes on this Monday show. I got 3 pages of notes here from the weekend.
Look at Scott.
I can never find what I want to talk about, but Montas has been amazing. Let me see if I can find what I wanted to say while you go to the next thing.
All right, I'll talk about some bullpen updates for the Nationals. Kyle Finnegan gave up 3 hits and a walk. He took another blown save and loss on Friday, so that was back-to-back days with a blown save, and then he bounced back on Sunday for his 10th save. For the Rockies, Carlos Estevez got his 9th save of the season on Friday. Michael Lorenzen for the Reds got his 4th save on Friday. Michael Givens pitched on both Wednesday and Thursday. For the Pirates, Chris Stratton got his 6th save on Friday. Then he took his 4th blown save on Sunday. David Bednar still is on the IL. For the Diamondbacks, Tyler Clippard came in Friday, entered in the 10th inning. He wound up the bases loaded. Then he hit Chas McCormick with a pitch. So pretty disastrous outing for Tyler Clippard. He gave up an unearned run on Saturday, but did pick up his 6th save of the season. For Oakland, Sergio Romo got his 3rd save on Friday. Andrew Chafin got his 5th save on Saturday. I still think it's Chafin more often than not, but it seems like he wasn't available on Friday because he pitched on Wednesday and Thursday. Scott mentioned Joe Barlow. He picked up his 7th save of the season on Saturday. 15% rostered. He's out there in deeper leagues if you do need some saves. Giovanni Gallegos got his 9th and 10th save of the season this weekend. For the Red Sox, this is interesting. Garrett Richards got his 3rd save on Sunday. 4 different relievers have the last 4 saves for the Boston Red Sox. So Matt Barnes just returned this weekend too, but they still chose to go with Garrett Richards on Sunday. Do you have any kind of lean here, Scott, for the Red Sox bullpen? Because I don't really know what's going on.
I mean, I really doubt Garrett Richards is just their closer now.
Yeah.
That seems like an unlikely scenario. I wasn't comfortable dropping Matt Barnes in a 16-team head-to-head categories league. So I'm kind of thinking there's a good chance he reemerges as the guy over the final 2 weeks, but I don't have a great read on it. By the way, the number I wanted to mention for Frankie Mantas was 3 earned runs or fewer in his last 15 starts.
Wow.
And in those 15 starts, 2.46 ERA, 108 WHIP, and K per 9 is 10.3. So 15 start stretch of Frankie Mantas being legitimately high end in fantasy.
Yes, 15 starts. That would have been more than last year's season. So that is a good enough reason for me to buy into Frankie Mantas for next year. To stream or not to stream, let's start with Monday. Brady Singer at Cleveland, Eric Fetty at the Marlins, Jesus Luzardo versus the Nationals, Nestor Cortez versus the Rangers, Shane Baz versus the Blue Jays, and Carlos Hernandez. He is not pitching on Monday, so I'm going to throw his name out of here. So Singer, Fetty, Luzardo, Cortez, Baz.
A lot of good ones here. Cortez versus the Rangers. I think pretty much everybody should be starting him. My second favorite. I
think it's Fetty. Just because it's the Marlins.
Yeah. But Brady Singer at Cleveland and even Jesus Luzardo against the Nationals. I'm okay with those if you really need the extra start.
Tuesday, to stream or not to stream, This list is not nearly as inspiring as the last one. Daniel Lynch at Cleveland, Josh Rodgers at the Marlins, Paul Blackburn versus the Mariners, Luke Weaver versus the Braves, John Lester at the Brewers, and Packy Naughton. I just like his name, so I wanted a reason to say it. He is at home against the Astros. You could just say no.
Not on my team.
Yeah.
If you're forcing me to pick one, I guess Josh Rodgers at Miami.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't think he's good.
Yeah, don't do it. Let's wrap up the Monday, Sunday, Monday, one of those days, with some emails from Scott Wolf. Guy emails in all the time, so we've got to help him out here. Probably my last question of the season: Alex Reyes, Alex Colomé, or Andrew Kittredge in a saves plus holds league?
Kittredge.
All right. This one's from Tim. Working on back-to-back titles in a 2014 keeper league similar to the Scott White Dynasty League, and have a pickle at my last starting pitcher spot. Garrett Cole, Joe Musgrove, and Luis Castillo already locked in, deciding between Logan Gilbert and Jordan Montgomery for my fourth starting pitcher. Looks like Montgomery might line up for 2 starts Tuesday and Sunday. What do you think?
We only have 3 starting pitchers in this league? I don't have Jordan Montgomery as a 2-start pitcher, which, doesn't mean for sure that he won't. Let me double check here. It would take the Yankees going down to a 4-man for him to make 2 starts.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be home versus Texas.
Right. I would say, yeah, even with just the 1 start against Texas, I still think I go Montgomery over Gilbert.
That is close, though.
Yeah, it's close.
Very close. All right, this one's from Derek. Who would you rather have at catcher over the last 2 weeks? Elias Diaz for Colorado with 3 straight series at home, or Kyle Farmer for Cincinnati, who is apparently catcher eligible on Yahoo?
Yeah, he played a lot of catcher in the minors, so I guess I can see why that happened. I will say Farmer. It's hard to beat everyday at bats at the catcher position.
All right. This last one's from Bill Byron. Can you guys help me set my lineup for the semifinals next week, this upcoming week? Assuming I win this week. So I hope you did, Bill. Hope you pulled it off. Pick 3, Brendan Rodgers, Brandon Lau, Franmil Reyes, CJ Crone, Ian Happ. 3.
As much as I hate to exclude my boy B-Raj, I got to go Reyes, Lau, and Crone here.
Yeah, Crone playing at home this week, 6 games. Franmil Reyes is red hot too, so he's having a good September. Lau, he's streaky, but he could win you a week single-handed.
Wait a second. The Rays have the single worst matchups of any team this week. I might. Oh gosh. I might go B-Raj over Lau.
Do it. Do it.
Let me just double check something real quick. Not like we're doing a live podcast or anything.
No big deal, Scott. Take your time.
I mean, Lau's been starting every day because I was looking at the 3 lefties on the schedule too.
It's been pretty cold though.
Has he? I know he was hot for a long stretch.
I have him in the podcast points league, and I feel like he gave me like 8 points this week.
Oh gosh, and Happ's not a bad choice either. Definitely Franmil Reyes and Crone. I'm not gonna fight you if you pick any of the 3 others. I would probably pick Rodgers.
In September, Brandon Lau is batting .255 with a .755 OPS. So, it's been mediocre production. Scott's going with Rodgers. We're going to wrap there. For Scott, I'm Frank. Thank you all for listening and watching Fantasy Baseball Today. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Bye-bye.